How's it going, everybody? This is Cameron White with White Light Astrology, giving you guys your November 2018 horoscope for Virgo. So Virgo, there's quite a bit of shifting going on this month. Beginning on November 6th, we have Uranus retrograding back into Aries. This is going to be your 8th house. So with Uranus he was in your 8th house for the past 7 years, and the 8th house we all know is bad stuff, weird stuff, other people's stuff that we don't like. Uranus has been there for a while, bringing this super into play randomly and explosions and excitement. However, Uranus has been in Taurus in your 9th house for the past couple months, so you've really becoming more liberated of your ideas and what you believe and where you want to go. However, as he retrogrades back into Aries, you're going to get one more pump of that 8th house stuff of like, are you ready to change? Are you ready to take that on? Are you ready to kind of break free and liberate yourself and bam, bust through the door? So this is going to be a big deal. On the same day, we have the North Node retrogressing into Cancer, where the North Node's been in Leo for the past year and a half. He's been in your 12th house. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. You've definitely awakened a lot more to your own sense of self, your own sense of power, your own sense of authenticity, which is really awesome. But now the North Node is going to go to your 11th house in Cancer, where it's about your friends. And I'm not here to talk too much about the South Node at the moment, because I will be talking about the whole node deal coming up soon. I just wanted to focus on the North Node right now, because the North Node is what we want to consume. The North Node is where we want to go. It's kind of like our soul's urging direction. It's like what we're hungry for. And as it goes into Cancer, we're talking about trusting, we're talking about nurturing, we're talking about growing, we're talking about protecting. And this is going to be in your 11th house of friendships, of groups of people, of networks and community. And so as the North Node goes in that direction, you're going to find yourself being more pulled towards groups of people, and who is protecting you, who is nurturing you, and who can you nurture as well, who can you experience, who can you trust. So that is going to be a pretty big deal. Moving forward, on November 7th, we have the new moon in Scorpio. And this is going to be good because this new moon is, we've had a bunch of stuff in your 3rd house with Scorpio. So the 3rd house is kind of like how you really go about things. I mean, if you watch the past couple videos I've done with Virgo, the 1st house is who you are, the 2nd house is what you have, and the 3rd house is how you use it. And so with Scorpio being in your 3rd house, we've had Jupiter right here, we've had Venus retrograde. You've been really looking at, okay, what are my abilities and how can I use them, more, not only acutely because you guys are Virgos, you know how to be specific, but how can you get the maximum reward out of what actions that you do or what actions that you take. So as Jupiter's been through here, you've learned a lot about that. As Venus retrogrades, you've had to learn how to replace your value into certain areas. So this new moon is really kind of setting a new tone and a new pace for your 3rd house Scorpio of how you take action and where exactly you put that energy and direct it and channel it into. So that's good stuff. After that, the next day on November 8th, we have Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, where this is going to be in your 4th house. The 4th house is all about your home life, your private life, where you center yourself, your family, where are your roots, what do you connect yourself to? And as this is in Sagittarius, this is a very philosophical, very adventurous, very excited about learning. Because I mean, you guys are Virgo risings. You love things and you love learning things. And it's kind of like how you center yourself and how you really ground yourself. And as Jupiter comes through here, this is going to be a great time to center yourself in your beliefs. What have you learned? What have you discovered? What do you really feel? What is being called out to you? This is going to be a good time for things around your home, for things around your parents. And this is going to be a big deal. And we'll talk more about this as time goes on. But the next day after that, on November 9th, we have Mars trining Venus. And this is a pretty big deal, because as Venus goes direct in your guys' 2nd house, where now that you've kind of figured out where exactly to put your energy a little bit more consistently and more efficiently, that money's starting to come in a little bit better. But Venus is still retrograde, so you're still kind of working on that a little bit. But as Venus goes back into your 2nd house, material possessions are looking better. They're starting to begin to look better. Money's starting to look better, and it's trining Mars in Aquarius, and Mars is also in your guys' 6th house of your sense of employment, of your sense of routine, of your sense of habits, what you're doing every day. And the 6th house also is really big about things deteriorating and breaking down and whatnot. And as Mars has been through there for the past couple months, it's been really shifting your behaviors, what you're kind of putting your energy into, where you're kind of working, basically everything that you're doing. So as Mars is now out of retrograde, out of shadow, out of eclipse season, he's going to be making a trine to Venus, where Venus is like, all right, now that you have a better understanding of where to put your energy that's going to be of the most service and of the most Saturn, something that works, something that's tangible, you're going to be getting a little bit more confidence, or maybe you'll buy something nice or be able to afford something, or maybe get a little bit of pay raise, something along the terms of that. But either way, that's really good for you Virgo risings, especially in that second and that sixth house. Then on November 14th, we have Mercury stationing retrograde, but it's going to be squaring Neptune exactly. And Neptune is in your guys' 7th house right now, you know, and it's going to be there for a while. It's not that big of a deal, but just the whole general world of relationships is just a fun and interesting place that just grabs your curiosity like crazy. Mercury is now in your 4th house, where he is in Sagittarius, he is in detriment, he doesn't like to be there, it's very overwhelming for him, it's squaring your ascendant, and he's going to square Neptune, where something at home, something that's kind of like, you know, might have been going a little bit too fast, is going to be kind of like, okay, you know, you want to, it's hard to explain just at this point because we have more to talk about with that. But the biggest thing to be sure about is with Mercury squaring Neptune, make sure you're not being you're not getting caught up in other people's illusions. You're being clear about what is going on, and you just need to, again, I've been saying this for all the videos, but take your time, be patient, make sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and just don't overwhelm yourself with a whole load, especially things at home and things in your private life and your work, or not your work, but really just your home and your private life, your family. Like, just take things really slow. Don't feel so overwhelmed about it, because you got a lot to deal with on this. Then on the same day, Mars will enter Pisces, where Mars will finally begin his transit through your 7th house. So Mars wants to sever, he wants to cut, he's very mad, he's very angry, he wants to move forward though, he's action oriented. But in the sign of Pisces, he's very much, you know, like I was saying this last one, it's like he's like a shaman. Like, he's very passive. He doesn't really want to fight. He doesn't want to be aggressed. He's very much on a discovery, on a journey, and he's learning how to not fight and fight, you know, with the demons of himself and stuff like that. And as he's in his 7th, as he goes into your 7th house, this is where you have to really understand and kind of really explore what are relationships and where are you putting yourself into those. What do you need to start to cut away from, and what do you want to experience a little bit more? And Mars is just going to show you, you know, like, hey, this is what's real, this is what's not. This is, you know, let's cut off the imagery, let's totally, you know, get things very clear and straight, and let's, you know, I don't want to say organize, but you guys are Virgo rising, so organize, but kind of what needs to be eliminated and what needs to be explored. What needs to be, you know, cleaned out and cleared out, and what needs to be more looked into and experienced. So that is going to be a pretty big deal. Then on the next day, November 17th, we have Mercury actually retrograding. So as Mars moves into Pisces, Mercury immediately retrogrades. And this is, again, don't be like things around your family, things around your parents, things around your home and where you're living. Don't go so fast with this. Mercury is already very overwhelmed. There's going to be a lot going on. And as Mercury retrogrades, I think you're going to have a better understanding of where everything is kind of going, where everything needs to be kind of shifted in direction. And this is Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to do a lot of stuff to Mercury here, and Jupiter just went into Sagittarius. This is going to be more of a good thing. It's just kind of like making sure you're not throwing everything super, super fast, because that's when you're going to get overwhelmed, and that's when things are going to go haywire. Jupiter expands and he brings good luck, but Mercury doesn't do well in Sagittarius, so it's kind of like, you know, what's the point of giving someone 100,000 diamonds if they try to carry it in their arms and it just drops everywhere, you know what I mean? So just take your time with things, find creative outlets and creative ideas to kind of get around certain things. Where was I at? Oh yeah, and then November 19th, we have Mars squaring Jupiter, where Mars is in Pisces and he wants to, you know, he needs to do something. And with Pisces, he doesn't have any, it's kind of like when you have like, I don't know, I don't play video games, but it's like The Sims where there's no real point to it, or like Minecraft. It's kind of like Mars and Pisces is like, no, like there needs to be something to do. I can't just like do whatever I want. Mars in Pisces in your 7th house is like there needs to be some adjustment. There needs to be something going on there. It's going to want to inflammate this area. And Jupiter is in your 4th house in Sagittarius, where Jupiter's kind of like, okay, like like things are going good, really good, and where you want to center yourself in. Kind of like your home and your family life. Where are the problems coming around in other people though? And it's just mostly going to be aware about where are you really grounding yourself in a situation, in a belief system, and how is that manifesting, especially with the other people that you have in your life. Yeah, on November 22nd, we have the Sun moving into Sagittarius, where, again, you're going to just be more focused at things that are going on at home, things that you're wanting to, get grounded and rooted in. It's a good time to learn something new, a good time to get rooted in a good book or a new philosophy or just a new experience. And this is Jupiter here, right here too. Jupiter wants you to have fun. He wants you to expand on things. He wants you to, look at it. He wants to give you stuff. On the same day, on November 22nd, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. The full moon in Gemini, my bad. And this is going to be in your 10th house of career, of public reputation, of how everything is kind of looking at the surface. And with, the Sun being in Sagittarius, Jupiter's there, Mercury's there, things are reflected right now at where you're kind of living. You're going to get more of the answers that you need, especially with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, with this full moon in Gemini. We have the moon, which is, she brings light to things that we don't always see. She brings light to the dark, the unconscious. And as she goes into your 10th house of basically right on top, being able to see everything in Gemini, where we are talking about communication, answers, facts, things just coming at you, you're going to have a better understanding of what you need to, or what is going to happen in terms of a career aspect or a job aspect, any type of bigger level stuff to really get yourself situated at home like you need to, or I should say as you want to. Then on November 25th, we have the Sun-Jupiter conjunction happening in your 4th house. This is kind of setting the terms of, okay, living situations better, things are going to feel a little bit more grand, you're going to maybe want to spoil yourself in that area. And Neptune will also go direct on that same day, just want to throw that out there. And then that Jupiter-Sun conjunction will continue to 4 degrees Sag on the 26th. So that's going to be a cool 2 days for you. Good 2 days at home, hang out, have a great time, or buy something for your house or something, I don't know. The next day, though, on November 27th, we have the Sun-Mercury conjunction, where Mercury goes Cazimi, and Mercury's in the face of the Sun, and Mercury's going to get a lot of the answers he needs. He's going to get the help that he needs, the clarity that he needs, because as Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius in your 4th house, you're really kind of looking at okay, I wouldn't necessarily say where do you want to live, because that will be a thing, but how do you want to live? Where do you want to go? Do you want to take yourself somewhere? Do you want to put a more positive light into things? Do you want to get more, not necessarily situated, but maybe a little bit more out of your house? As Mercury retrogrades and it goes Cazimi, this is when you're going to get the real big idea of okay, now I see what's going on. Now I understand a little bit more, and I'm a little bit more clear of, what it is that I want to go for and what it is I'm not too excited to go for and what I just can't go for because it's too much. And then immediately after that, Mercury conjuncts Jupiter, where Jupiter's boom, perfect, you decided, you know where you're going, here's $1 million, basically. So that's going to be really good as Mercury conjuncts Jupiter. It's hey, just figure it out for yourself and let me know when you're done, because either way, I'm giving you something nice. So that's going to be really awesome, because usually Mercury retrogrades are not that cool or not that fun, but this one seems very fun. And then the last thing is on November 30th, Venus opposes Uranus at 29 Aries and 29 Libra. And so Venus is at, that critical degree at the last degree of Libra in your 2nd house. What's your money looking like? Uranus is in your 8th house, and it's funny because that has to do with inheritances, and that has to do with, basically anything crazy going on. So with Uranus in your 8th house and Venus right there at that point, it's kind of how do you need to work with people and work with what you have in order to bring more good out of it, in order to kind of get exactly what you need. It's kind of you have an opportunity to, double down and see what happens. And hey, might be a good time for you. And then after that, Mercury will retrograde back into Scorpio, where it's going to retrograde back into your 3rd house, where you want to, now that you have a more clear understanding of where you want to center yourself, where you want to go, what you want to pursue, Mercury goes back into Scorpio in your third house of like really utilizing your intelligent brain to go about things in the clear manner. It's just really going to be going, okay, this is how I need to execute, this is how I need to go about it, and this is what I need to do, and this is how I need to focus. So that's your November. It's going to be kind of not really a big shift, but it's going to be interesting. So that's what I got for you guys, though. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, whatever. And I'll be seeing you guys for next month's horoscopes.